Chicago Tonight, Black Voices is made possible in part by Fifth Third Bank and by the support of these donors.
At Fifth Third, we believe when diverse voices are heard and empowered, communities are made stronger, lives are made better, and the future holds greater promise for all. That's why we're proud to support Chicago Tonight Black Voices. Together, we can make a difference. Together, we can drive change.
Good evening and welcome to Chicago Tonight Black Voices. I'm Brandis Friedman and thank you for sharing part of your weekend with us. On the show tonight, on the 50th anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King's arrival in Chicago's North Lawndale neighborhood, we revisit the work he did to end slum conditions and combat discriminatory housing practices. The Illinois Legislative Black Caucus passes criminal justice legislation. Amanda Venicky gives us the rundown on a week of sweeping changes in Springfield.
I'm also very proud of being the daughter of an immigrant and what that means to the American story. And how quintessential.
And Chicago poet LeSLÉ HONORÉ on the poem she updated to celebrate Vice President-elect Kamala Harris's historic win. First off tonight, in January 1966, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., his wife Coretta, and their 4 children moved into a West Side tenement and set to work addressing a major facet in his lifelong battle against poverty: quality, affordable housing. Here's a look back at his time in Chicago's Lawndale neighborhood. When Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. came to Lawndale 50 years ago this month, his mission was to bring an end to the discriminatory housing practices that forced many Black Chicagoans to live in terrible conditions.
We have looked forward to our coming to Chicago with great and eager anticipation.
Upon his arrival in Lawndale, King and 3 civil rights organizations seized this 3-flat on South Homan Avenue, where tenants were living with no heat, electricity, or hot water. King and the other building's tenants worked together to fix up the building, but King's vision for Chicago went far beyond fixing up dilapidated housing. In a 1967 speech, King said, quote, "If there is to be genuine equality, there must be a radical redistribution of economic and political power." 50 years later, the redistribution King hoped for has yet to reach Lawndale. Though the neighborhood was struggling with poverty when King lived here, 16th Street was still lined with shops and apartment buildings. Today, vacant lots dominate 16th Street, and affordable, quality housing is still in short supply. When he was assassinated in 1968, King was preparing to launch the Poor People's Campaign, his movement for economic justice. One of the pillars of that campaign reflected his work in Lawndale, the fight to secure fair housing, which he saw as crucial to enabling families to lift themselves out of poverty. Joining us to talk about how fair housing and poverty intersect are WILONDA Cannon, Senior Director of Development for Breakthrough Urban Ministries, a faith-based nonprofit organization on Chicago's West Side, and Richard Townsell, Executive Director of Lawndale Christian Development Corporation. Welcome both of you to Chicago Tonight Black Voices, and thanks for joining us. WILONDA Cannon, let's start with you, please. How does affordable housing and housing assistance help people to achieve financial stability?
Well, I think that thank you for the question. I think that there are a couple of things, when it's not just about getting people housed and making sure that they are safe, right? It's also about giving them quality housing. When a person is housed, they're safe, they're able to live in a way that's honorable to them, then that impacts their employment, their ability to obtain and maintain employment, because they don't have to worry about where they're going to sleep, where they're going to prepare their food. That impacts their health, that impacts everything in their lives. And so housing, safe housing is one thing, but affordable housing is something totally different.
You mentioned one of them, but what are some of the positive ripple effects that come with having that kind of stable, affordable housing?
That's I have a very personal experience with this. There was a person that I know who was going to school and had employment, but she was couch surfing, which is she didn't make enough to live on her own, and so she had to live with one of her relatives. Well, the relatives could no longer allow her to sleep on their couch, and so she had to move her clothes into a storage bin and every day go to the storage, change her clothes, and then go to school and then go to her employer. Well, at that employer, that's where she would sleep or wash up or do things like that. When they found out that she was doing that, she lost her job. So this is how that impacts a person's life. It's not just about housing in the way that we think, but when you have a house, you don't have to worry about where you're going to take a shower. You don't have to figure out where you're going to sleep every night. That thing, that very simple thing that many of us take for granted, is something that's major. And it caused her to lose her job simply because she did not have a place to regularly rest every night.
Richard Townsell, your organization, Lawndale Christian Development Corporation, you all manage several mixed income housing developments, including the Dr. King Legacy Apartments, which I was just able to see this past week. And they stand on the site of the building where Dr. King lived. Can this model be replicated in other parts of the city?
Well, it has been replicated. There's been, robust work in communities like in Pilsen and on the South Side, with quiet communities. There's a bustling community development corporation movement in Chicago, and groups like, Bickerdike and others have been doing this for 50 years. And so it can be replicated. It has been replicated, and we've learned from others as well in the community development corporation field.
If then, it obviously can be replicated, it has been replicated, what more does city government need to do to help remedy the problem of affordable housing?
Well, I think the issue really starts at the federal level. I think HUD has not really given, in the same way that Chicago goes after dollars for transportation every year, right? Our delegation does a great job of getting transportation dollars. They have to do the same thing around affordable housing. There is, short supply of it. For every person that wins an award with the Department of Housing to do a development like the Martin Luther King Apartments, there are probably 10 or 15 that didn't get it, and so we need resources to be able to do this work. In addition, one of the things that we're working on with the city is we have a 1,000 Homes campaign. So the shirt I'm wearing talks about the North Lawndale Homeowners Association. Our goal is to build 1,000 homes on the South Side and on the West Side for working families. And we're working with the city to realize that and start the first 250 homes in North Lawndale. WILONDA has been key to helping us train and develop new homeowners that will own those homes. So the city can play its part. We got to play our part as well.
And WILONDA, we know that you're also a real estate agent, but what help is out there for folks who want to purchase homes in communities like Lawndale?
Yeah, that's a good question. So there are quite a few things that are happening right now. There is down payment assistance. It looks different sometimes in every community. On the federal level, on the state level, locally, there's down payment assistance. Lenders are stepping up. More recently, something was released, I want to say probably in the last 30 days, that there's assistance that's available for people who have major student loans where those loans can be forgiven. There's also programs happening through NHS that provides TIF forgivable loans if you're rehabbing projects or homes as well. So there's a lot that's available. One thing that I would encourage for people who are looking for that is to get connected to the North Lawndale Homeowners Association or figure out what's going on in your community. Find you a real estate professional or a lender and make sure that they are educating you about what resources are available, because there are some. Sometimes the funding runs out, which is why we need more. But when it's available, there are some really amazing programs that people can take advantage of.
And WILONDA, sticking with you for a second, your family's lived in Lawndale for generations. What makes you optimistic about the future of your community?
Oh gosh, there's just no place like Lawndale to me. My family has been here for 6 generations. My son goes to North Lawndale College Prep. I also am a board member there. And we want to show that great things do come out of North Lawndale. The graystones that are here in our community, our parks are really, really beautiful. The landscape is really beautiful, and the community and people, even like in our homeowners association, the community and people and neighbors. There's just nothing like what you experience here in North Lawndale. So I'm very, very proud to be from North Lawndale and still here.
Absolutely. Richard Townsell, you know, why do you think Lawndale has had such a difficult time establishing and maintaining good, affordable housing? And what are some of the barriers to achieving it, for people to achieve that?
Well, I think if you think about what happened in the 50s and 60s when most people were moving to North Lawndale, my family moved here from Tennessee, other folks moved up from Mississippi, and, you know, moving out of kind of sharecropping life to the big city to work at Sears and International Harvester and Western Electric. Many of those companies are gone. They're no longer here. So the jobs that were here when people moved here in the Great Migration are gone. That impacts it. I also think that when folks first moved here, many people could not buy homes. They could only buy homes on contract. And so because of the work of folks like Monsignor Jack Egan and Jack McNamara and others, and the Contract Buyers League, now people can get mortgages in neighborhoods like North Lawndale. But for many years in the 50s and 60s, we couldn't. And so we were denied opportunities for wealth. And so that was a big reason. It continues to be a problem today in terms of appraisal gaps and other things that stop our people from being able to own, and lenders. You know, WBEZ did a piece on lending activity in Chicagoland and how in one community on the north side, it did more lending than every community on the south and west side where African Americans and Latinos are combined.
Right, and I think since then, I think, sorry to jump in, I think Chase has said that they're going to try and do more with regard to lending. Sorry, but we've got just a few seconds left, Richard. You know, it's clear that Martin Luther King's time in Lawndale still resonates today. In a few seconds, what are you hearing from residents about what it means to them to live in the Legacy Apartments?
Well, they love living there because it's beautiful, it's safe, you know, it was very well designed architecturally. We're going to be bringing a new restaurant in there, you know, Turkey Chop, which is a nice restaurant. Quentin Love, if you know who he is, he's an amazing chef. And so we have a cultural center there. So there's a lot going on in London.
All right. Sounds delicious, too. My thanks to Yolanda Cannon and Richard Townsell for joining us.
Thank you, Prentice.
Thank you.
And be sure to join us tomorrow night at 7 for a WTTW News special focused on poverty in and around Chicago. It's part of the debut of WTTW's Firsthand Living in Poverty, a multi-platform initiative exploring intergenerational poverty in a documentary series, reported stories, expert talks, and community discussions. As Chicago and the nation saw the streets erupt in protests against racism and police brutality in the wake of George Floyd's killing, Illinois' black legislators promised the state would take action. They followed through on that promise this past week when legislators approved a package of measures aimed at eliminating systemic racism. But perhaps the most sweeping measure deals with policing and criminal justice. Amanda Vinicky has been in Springfield all week, and she joins us now. Amanda.
Brandis, this was a huge week for Black legislators in Illinois. Collectively, they formed the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus. And it was such a big week in part because of that collection of bills that you mentioned, but also because Illinois elected its first Black Speaker of the House, Emanuel Chris Welch, whose wife and children came to Springfield to celebrate his first day in the job.
My son, Tyler. Welcome, Tyler. And I was told she wanted to introduce herself, so hold on one second.
Marley.
Now, the other big reason, of course, is the Black Caucus's success getting through major pieces of legislation like that omnibus criminal justice bill that you mentioned.
We are fundamentally changing the way that we do criminal justice in this state. We are fundamentally changing the way that law enforcement and communities interact. We are fundamentally changing. This is a, you're right. My good friend on the other side of the aisle, you are absolutely right. This is a complex piece of legislation. It is bold. It is transformational. It is supposed to be.
Fundamental changes. Amanda, what exactly does this measure do?
Yeah, Brandis, as the senator indicated, transformational, complex. It'd be easier, frankly, to tell you maybe what it doesn't do. But among the changes for law enforcement are banning police from using chokeholds, It prohibits the use of some military-grade equipment for crowd control purposes. It sets a path for police to lose their certification if they do wrong, and it requires that all police statewide have to wear body cameras by the year 2025.
And what about on the criminal justice front?
Well, it changes how prisoners are counted for when it comes to legislative representation. And that's a big deal because it'll boost population in cities like Chicago versus the more rural areas that host prison. It also ensures that inmates who are pregnant get special accommodations. And then detainees upon arrest will be allowed to make several, not just one phone call. And they'll be able to get numbers from their cell phones before those phones are confiscated and put in inventory. And then this is a really, really big deal. It ends cash bail. House sponsor Representative Justin Slaughter got emotional when he was talking about all of this on the House floor.
For Black communities all across the state of Illinois, the time is now. The time is now to go from protest to progress. Criminal justice reform cannot wait.
But critics have real fears about small police departments not being able to afford all of those body cameras. Also, that the lack of cash bail will mean that violent offenders will be released only to do more harm. State Representative Patrick Windhorst previously served as the Massac County State's Attorney for 14 years. And he said that while crime rose in the year 2020, prior to that, it had been going down.
From the early 90s to 2014 and 15, we have seen massive decreases in crime throughout our state and country. A massive overhaul of the criminal justice system, I believe, will lead to increases in crime and an undoing of the things that have occurred over that 20 to 25 year period of time that have resulted in a safer society.
In order to get the measure passed by the General Assembly, proponents did have to get rid of a provision that would have eliminated qualified immunity for police. Critics say that that is a practice that shields bad actors. So again, that was not part of the final plan, and that allowed it to pass.
This bill, having received a constitutional majority, is hereby declared passed.
You can see Black Caucus members celebrating there, but a coalition of law enforcement groups are apoplectic about the measures passing in the dark of night, as they put it, calling it ominous. They say it is going to make Illinois less safe, and they are besieging Governor J.B. Pritzker to veto it.
Amanda, has the governor said whether he will or won't?
You know, I expect that he is going to sign it. While he did not explicitly say so, he did release a statement lauding the proposal, saying that the package carries the opportunity to shape our state into a lesson in true justice. And Brenda, you know, as the brand new General Assembly got underway, Representative LaSHAWN Ford said all lawmakers should be proud for being a national leader on police reform.
There's a lot of talk about black, 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 black. Black, 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 black. Whew, black. But we did it together. Just like the civil rights movement and all the movements that changed the nation, that changed the world, it happened because whites and blacks came together.
Ford says that legislators who did not vote for the proposal will have other chances. As he put it, there's still a long way to go to make justice reign. Brenda, back to you.
Great reporting in Springfield, Amanda. Thank you. And now to Paris Schutz for a look at what's on tap tomorrow on Chicago Tonight. Paris.
Brandis, we've got a lot planned on Chicago Tonight. A WTTW News special, the history of poverty in the Chicago area, where it stands today, and where to go from here. It's all part of our latest first-hand initiative focusing on poverty. That's Monday at 7 here on 11. And now, Brandis, we go back to you.
Paris, thank you. Following Kamala Harris's election as vice president last year, Chicago poet LESLÉ HONORÉ updated a poem she wrote in 2017 titled Brown Girl, to celebrate the historic nature of Harris's win. The new version quickly made its way through social media, inspiring many black and brown women to share their own feelings seeing a woman of color in America's second highest office. I recently met with Honoré in Little Village to talk about her work, and I began by asking her where the poem originally came from.
It was originally a poem I wrote. It was included in my book Fist and Fire that I self-published in 2017. A poem thinking about what I want my daughters to see and feel, and knowing all the obstacles that they have in their path that they have to find a way to overcome.
What was it that inspired the update this time?
I think like everyone, we were all pins and needles and waiting for it to finally be called. And driving with my oldest daughter, Sage, got a text from my girlfriends from Xavier, my crew, and they're like, we did it, we got the votes. And she said, Mom, go ahead, pull over, you know you're gonna wanna write about it. And I typically write about things immediately when they're happening. And so I pulled over and I thought I'm gonna write something new, but Brown Girl just kept coming in my mind. And so I just made a couple of edits on my phone and posted it, and just have been enjoying the ride ever since.
This isn't the first time you've gone viral. What's it been like to see this poem take off on social media?
This one was special. And I've been very lucky, been very blessed that so many people have identified with what I write. I like to talk about my poetry that it's not slam poetry and it's not academic where it's talking about a leaf and we don't understand what's going on. It's somewhere in the middle. And so to have so many people connect with it and share it, for somebody to take the time to read a poem on Facebook, it always blows me away. But this was so different. To have mothers reach out and send me videos of their daughters reading the poems, it makes me well up.
So many of your poems, they typically are free verse, but this one, you know, it follows a rhyme and a meter. It almost sings and chants. Why did you write it that way?
I don't know. That's just really how it was born. It just felt very joyful, like the way we learn things when we're young that has rhythm and cadence. And it just felt so different than the time we're in right now where things can feel so heavy. It just made me feel so happy to write it and read it, and it's been wonderful finding people who find joy in it as well.
You yourself, you also have multicultural origins. Do you find yourself identifying with Vice President-elect Kamala Harris?
Very much so. Growing up, there wasn't really a box to check for being biracial, not even in the census until the late 90s. So to continue to have more representation to show the world what being multiracial, biracial is, absolutely. As a daughter of a black man from New Orleans, and my mother immigrated from Mexico when she was 15, I'm also very proud of being the daughter of an immigrant and what that means to the American story and how quintessentially American that is. Extremely proud.
What does her election mean to you?
It's a tangible hope. It means it's a representation of what can really happen. Barack Obama's election and his victory was huge, but I think we're all accustomed to seeing men in high positions of power. To see Vice President-elect Kamala Harris reach this position, being elected, being chosen, it really is a way for us to look at it and say anything is possible. I will be so excited when it's no longer the first, when it's no longer the exception, but when it is an accepted norm like every other straight white man who runs for office.
You know, you've written poems about everything from current events to, you know, motherhood and sisterhood. Tell us about how you find your inspiration.
I write about what I'm feeling. So whether it's the news cycle or something that's happening personally to me, I just try to be very vulnerable and transparent. And what I found is that even though I think I'm special, my story is not. A lot of women feel what I felt and have been in the same places that I have been. And I try to find that thread of humanity, which is art, that links us all regardless of age or gender or background. What art helps us see is who we are outside of all of that. So whether it's spoken word or poetry or painting, that's what we connect with, is that humanity. And I'm really proud when I can tap into that.
You've talked a lot about your mom. Who are the strong black and brown women in your life?
Absolutely my mom first, immigrating at 15, speaking no English, and then becoming a teacher and showing me really this quiet strength that is not boastful, but that just continues to persevere. My mom is high on my list. I have wonderful girlfriends here who are my chosen family, who lift me up, who ensure that I make it through every day, and my girlfriends from my own HBCU that I'm very proud of. And they remind me that this is our journey together.
And as we get ready for Kamala Harris's inauguration this week, we asked some Chicago girls to join Honoré and give us their spin on her poem. Take it away, girls.
Brown girl, what do you see? I see a vice president that looks like me.
Brown girl, what do you do? I thought, I hoped, I spoke what was true.
Brown girl, what do you know? That there are strong women who want me to grow.
Brown girl, what do you feel? That black girl magic will help us all heal.
Brown girl, what do you see? A world that sees my skin before it sees me.
Brown girl, what you gonna do? March, fight, and create till I make this world new.
Brown girl, how are you so strong? 'Cause I got queens in my blood to help push me along.
And our thanks to Chicago Children's Choir members Leah Perez, Nia Ballard, Morgan Robinson, Imani Ballard, and Riley Callahan, and Adventure Stage Chicago's Genesis Clark for their performances. And if you're looking for some snacks to enjoy as you watch the inauguration on Wednesday, a local bakery has you covered with some treats inspired by Honoré's poem. You can read WTTW reporter Patty Wetley's story about that on our website. And that is our show for this Sunday night. Be sure to check out our website, WTTW.com/news, for the very latest from WTTW News, including how you can celebrate MLK Day virtually this year. And join Paris Schutz and me tomorrow at 7 on Chicago Tonight for a special on firsthand living in poverty. Now, for all of us here at Chicago Tonight Black Voices, I'm Brandis Friedman. Thank you for sharing part of your weekend with us. Stay healthy and safe, and have a good night.
Closed captioning is made possible by Robert A. Clifford and Clifford Law Offices, a Chicago personal injury and wrongful death firm, sponsoring a free continuing legal education program for over a decade for lawyers across the state.